What's up, everybody? It's Dr. Bryce Bowers and my good friend Dr. Nathan. Dr. Nathan, how are you today?
Hello, hello, Dr. Bryce. All is well. All is well. Great to be here.
You look good, like the light blue. Got some color to your face. You're looking good, brother. So
Thank
we
you.
are back. I have a Dr. Nathan here to kind of discuss his journey in terms of how he got involved with trading futures. I know we've all met Philip, and we've heard his story. We've met myself, obviously. We've heard my story. We've got a lot more people coming in to work with us, and I think a big part of it, at least for our audience, is I want them to hear their personal stories and background because there's just something that really connects you more about it, and it lets you know that we're really not here to just bring you in as a client for you to do the business aspect. We really care about you as a person too. So Dr. Nathan is going to tell us a little bit about his background, his journey, and how he got here today. And I'm excited to hear it because I don't think I've heard all of it either. So I'm gonna let him rip, let him go, and we'll see where it takes us. Dr. Nathan, the floor is yours, sir.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Dr. Bryce. As you mentioned, it's great to know who you're dealing with and the people that are involved in this amazing project. First and foremost, I grew up in New York and I always wanted to be in medicine. Didn't really decide until freshman year of college what I wanted to do in terms of which career path to take. I always wanted to be in medicine, and I was struggling between med school and going into the pharmaceutical industry. The deciding factor for me was, am I, excuse me, the deciding factor for me was the amount of schooling that it was going to take. And so I decided to go into pharmacy because that was just the it thing for me to do. There was no other reason for me to make that decision besides the fact that I knew many doctors. I knew that their quality of life when they came out of school wasn't what I aspired to be. And as time progressed, things could have been differently, but that's the path I chose, and I'm happy with it. And that's what got me to where I am today. So I went to Long Island University in Brooklyn and the Arnold and Marie Schwartz College of Pharmacy. It was a 4-year program that really taught me a lot about medicine, taught me a lot about how to interact with patients, how to provide the care. And then we, as medical professionals, take the Hippocratic Oath to make sure that everything that we do is for the ultimate benefit of the patient. And I worked in the retail space for about 15 years, realized, okay, there has to be more to patient care. My patients were in the community settings, my patients were, range from young kids to elderly and all in between. And they had various disease states. And I always realized, I always wondered, how can somebody take one medication and then get prescribed another medication and another and another, and it gets to a point where now they have a whole a bag of medication. As we used to have a brown bag program where we would do medication therapy management for them, and we would go through their different medications and see what disease states they were on. Long story short, you realize, okay, there's certain factors that go into the quality of the patient's health. One of them being the mindset. First and foremost, I have to have that healthy mindset. The mindset of I am, my body's healthy, my body can recover, my body is designed to be vitality, to have vitality, to have strength, to have abundance of health. We all have abundance of health, but these certain factors, the mindset obviously is the first one, first and foremost. Then we have the water that we drink, the toxicity in the water. A lot of people don't realize that, for example, if you're buying organic produce and you're washing it with tap water, now you're contaminating it. Now you have the water that you're drinking and the water that you're using for your fruits and vegetables is now contaminated. And there's been studies that shown that there's fluoride in the water, there's chlorine in the water, there's heavy metals in the water, there's actually pharmaceutical drugs in the water. So we, from my standpoint, realized, okay, the water has to change. The water has to be clean, fresh, pure, filtered water, and that will help improve the quality of their life. And then we have the foods that you eat and how they're prepared. So a lot of times we have the toxic coating on the cookwares, on the different types of various ways that food is prepared. And a lot of people don't realize that when you're cooking food beyond a certain temperature, you're denaturing the nutrients, and all the vitamins and minerals that are in the food are now denatured. So you're spending money on the organic produce, for example, and you're washing in the tap water. Now it's contaminated with all these pesticides, heavy metals, all these contaminants, and then you're cooking it on a non-stick Teflon surface or whatever coated surface it is that leaches into the food. You're cooking it at a high temperature where now you're denaturing the nutrients. So you basically have an expensive, nutrition-less meal. And when I brought this up to a few clients, their eyes got as big as saucers. Like, how did I not know this before? Mm-hmm. So yeah, and so that's the foods that we eat. That's the second factor. The third factor is the air that we breathe. Because we spend over 90% of our times indoors, the air pollution inside is actually worse than it is outside because of the chemicals that we use to clean, the dust particles, everything that's in the home. The air is not as clean. So clean, fresh air helps with the airways, helps also clean, sanitize the air, make sure you're breathing clean, fresh air. Because if you think about it this way, if you hold your breath you can go, days without water, but you can't go minutes without air and breathing clean, fresh air. That's what our body functions on. And then we have the sleep and the quality of your sleep. The deep, restful sleep is also essential. It's also important. And this is where we have the quality of our sleep. So think about it this way. If you don't sleep for 24 hours, you can go without sleep. You're not going to be functioning at your ideal preference. You're also, any longer than that, you're starting to, fatigue sits in, and basically you don't have deep, restful sleep. And sleep is designed for us to rejuvenate, restore, and also recover from the daily stresses. Whatever stresses they are. Could be from the Wi-Fi, from the stress at work, the family stress, driving. Those of you who drive, any stresses, they make our body. They're not adapted. Our body's not adapted to deal with this much stress without having to discharge. So one of the sleep systems that we partner with a company that now develops a grounded sleep system where this is where we can discharge our stress, and now we can almost similar concept to if you're plugging your cell phone into the wall to charge the battery. When it's fully charged, it runs perfectly. It runs fast. When the battery is depleted, it's sluggish, it's slow, it doesn't respond as well. So this is what our body needs, and by grounding ourselves, this is how we can regenerate and restore our sleep. And then the sixth factor is the exercise. Exercise, moving the body, moving the muscles. It's important, and everybody can exercise. You can do walking, you could do low intensity, you could do high intensity, depending on your level of physical fitness and intensity. So these six factors, we decided to start our health and wellness company. It's called My Wellness Brothers, and we realized, okay, these factors and these solutions we can bring to our clients, and it's been great over the 2 years that we started this company. On this journey, we were at it was an FX summit, I believe. It was a foreign exchange, forex, crypto, basically a summit of all the top producers and top performers in the space. And Philip was actually at one of these locations and one of these events, and that's how we got introduced to this amazing opportunity of getting involved in the futures and commodities trading. And the way that throughout this journey, I personally was looking for an opportunity to supplement an income. And I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that there's certain things that happen that we manifested this relationship, and now it has been life-changing. And this is how my story started, from going from the pharmaceutical industry to the health and wellness space, and now to the trading futures and commodities space. It's just been an amazing journey. I'm excited for the rest of the ride, and as they say, the best is yet to come. So I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Yeah, absolutely. Pun intended. I love all that. That stuff is all right up my alley. And with a lot of, like, when I was in residency, I did primary care, and it was a challenge to get people to understand, patients especially, that everything you just mentioned, the quality of your air, the quality of your sleep, the quality of your diet, using tap water, things like that are so important to your health. And I find it fascinating that in medical school, I wasn't taught really any of that. Like I think I had, if I remember right, I think we had an hour lecture on nutrition. I think that was it. I'm not, and that's not no downplay on my medical school. I got great training and I loved it, but it's just kind of the way it is. You know what I mean? So would you say that you maybe like, at some point in your journey there, it sounds like you had some dissonance, right? Like with like what were doing as a profession as a pharmacist, which I've heard you talk about. You practiced for a long time, and you're very grateful for the privilege you had. But did you ever experience this kind of like, well, this just isn't quite what I thought it would be? Did you ever have one of those moments,
Oh yeah,
or?
oh yeah. Several times actually. I realized that when my kids were born, and they're 11 at the time, so 12 years ago when we found out that we're having twins, I got to, I sat down one day and I said, how is this all going to play out? Like, I need to increase my income. I need to increase my
Yeah.
revenue stream. Something's got to give. I mean,
Hmm.
I was capped at my current position, and I remember looking for an opportunity, and as I was looking for certain things, certain opportunities presented themselves. Again, it's what life presents us with situations and circumstances and people and events that will bring us what we're looking for. And so at the time, I realized, okay, I have a double expense now. My wife is not in school, not working at the moment when the kids were born, and so sole income, sole provider. It was a great learning experience of how to really manifest money, and we got through it. The kids, as they got older, got easier. They realized, I realized that, okay, now they're going back to school. Now they're starting school, and then my wife went back to school herself, and she got a nursing degree, and she started working. So it kind of relieved some of that financial stress. So it made things easier for quite some time. Now we had the second income coming in, so things were good, things were great, and then we realized, all right, let's have another kid. Let's expand the family. And it was a blessing in disguise. I realized, okay, I need to be closer to home, so I left that current position that I
Mm.
had, moved to a different location, got an increase in pay, and then I realized, okay, I missed most of the upbringing of my kids because I was working nonstop. I was working, 12, 13-hour days. I mean, 5 days a week. That was nuts. And for me to do that and go in and do that again with another kid, I was like, I can't do that anymore.
Mm.
I need to slow down. I need to do something that's going to give me my time and allow me the time or freedom to spend time with my newborn son. And I owe it to myself, and I'm thankful and grateful for everything that I was presented with, because it taught me a very valuable lesson that when we're running and chasing money, for example, and giving up time, we can't make the time back, but we can always make more money.
Hmm.
And so that was an aha moment for me. Well, I just stepped, I got to a point where I couldn't trade any more time for money because it was too much, and I was getting burnt out. I was, it just took a toll on me, and I realized, okay, you know what, I can't do this. It's not worth it. So this is where I started to do the health and wellness route, and created a business, started a business for myself, went into business for myself, had the great time opportunity. And along this journey, I learned a lot about myself, a lot about finances, a lot about that there are opportunities out there, and certain opportunities that are presented to us, we have to take the opportunities. This reminds me of a story that I heard when I first started my business. It was about a preacher in New Orleans in Louisiana, and the preacher was there was a flood coming, and the town was being evacuated. So everybody tells the preacher, "Preacher, we have to go. The town's going to get flooded." He's like, "No, God's going to take care of it." And this is not a religious story or anything like that. So whatever you believe in, God, the universe, it's totally neutral. It's just the way the story goes. So he goes, "No, God's going to take care of me. I'm going to stay here." So everybody evacuated. The town, the floods came. All of a sudden, there's a boat that comes by, and the boat says, "Listen, preacher, the waters are rising. You have to go." "No, no, God's going to take care of it." Okay, so the boat leaves. The waters continue to rise. Now the preacher's on the roof of the building, and another boat comes by and says, "Preacher, preacher, we have to leave. We have to evacuate. The waters are continuing to rise. You'll drown." He's like, "No, it's okay. God's going to take care of me." All of a sudden, now the waters continue to rise, and he's just on the tippy top of the roof, and the helicopter comes by and says, "Preacher, you have to go now, otherwise you will drown and die." He said, "No, God's going to take care of me." So what happened? The waters continue to rise, and he drowned, and now he's in heaven at the gates, and he says, "God, I thought you were going to take care of me. What happened?" He's like, "Well, we sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What did you think was going to come? I'm not going to come. I wasn't. He was expecting God to come there and bring him." So the point is that we have opportunities that are presented to us. It's on us to take and evaluate those opportunities and take those opportunities, and to make that decision to take massive and immediate action on those decisions, on those opportunities, because you don't know when there's a boat coming or a helicopter coming to save you. So that was the opportunity of growing for me.
That's a great story. That's a really good story, and that's where I thought it was. I don't think I've heard you say that before, but I thought that's where it was going, because I've made that. I've seen that a lot in my life too. It's like, you don't have to believe in God or whatever your higher power is or whatever, but you can just tell that there's something pulling you towards something. Like there's something that you need in life, and there's something right in front of you probably that's is there. It's there, and it takes some training and some wherewithal to understand that it's there, right? That whoever your higher power is or whatever you believe in, that it's being provided to you, right? And so I find that really interesting. And so I want you to kind of tie that. Now, when I met Philip, who is just one of the coolest people on the face of the planet, and I want you to kind of, can you talk about that, like how you guys met, and then like, was that like your preacher and the helicopter moment? Do you feel like that was kind of what it was in terms of like now that you are trading futures and everything like that?
Yeah. So the journey with Philip and the way that we got introduced was it was simple phone call conversation. We had a Zoom call where he mentioned about the futures and commodity space, and at the time I had no idea what futures and commodity space were. What that was, what involved, what entailed. I knew of the stock market per se. I wasn't very much involved into it. I always wanted to get into it, but it intimidated me, because it was like there's so much to learn, so many things to look for, to see. And I was like, I was very hesitant about it at first. I was like, no, this doesn't seem like it's going to be a huge learning curve. I don't think I could do it. I think it's just wasting my time. He's like, well, okay, if that's what you feel, no problem. Come see the performance. See what can be done. See what's available. So he invited me to one of the sessions, the trading sessions, live trading sessions. And when I saw that, I was like, is this legal? How is he making this kind of trades, and how is he making this kind of money? What does he know that I don't know? And my mentor always told me, learn from people who have what you want and have been where you are. So I realized that, okay, so let me give this a little bit more. So now I was intrigued. I was like, okay, I've never seen this before in my life. I don't know who these guys are. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Let me see what this is about. I did my due diligence. I looked into it. I came on more sessions. And the more I saw, the more I realized that this is the real deal. And I immediately said to myself, I said, Nate, this is the helicopter that's here. You've missed 2 boats. Do not miss this helicopter, because then you're going to drown. And so going back to that story, I took it. I took that opportunity, and boy, am I thankful that I got on that helicopter. Boy, am I so happy that it was just, it was God sent. It really was. And this is, there's no such thing as coincidences. And I think I mentioned this earlier, but I don't believe in coincidences. And I don't think any of us believe in coincidences. There's certain things from an energetic standpoint. We all have vibrations and thoughts that we send out of what we want and also what we don't want. And these thoughts and vibrations manifest in our reality. So when you're asking for an opportunity and the opportunity presents itself, take the action step needed to take that opportunity. And I'm telling you again, from personal experience, I'm so happy that Philip was there at that moment to make that contact, make that conversation, make that phone call, set up that Zoom call. And here I am, having this, would have never met Dr. Bryce. And I got to tell you, my life is totally different now. On a Thursday afternoon here at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, having the conversation with Dr. Bryce and not worrying about where the next paycheck is coming from. It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
It really is.
Life-changing stuff. I love that. It's so good, and that's kind of what we're going to head into next. Is we're going to talk more about the futures in financial markets in the next episode. But gosh, your story's so great. It's great to have a tangible piece of information to kind of, or a tangible story to latch onto, because I even do that with my patients. I just think about, like, I remember the first GI bleed that I actually missed. It's just, you never forget those things because there's a personal story to it, or there's just something personal attached to it. And so, you had mentioned that, it's not all about making money. It's not all about, just getting the almighty dollar in life. It's creating these connections with people who are really just amazing people, and that's what I think you and I are both fortunate enough to have come
Yeah.
across, because very much in my life too, it was, I was getting beat down in residency. I was like looking, I was just about to become an attending, and granted I still practice medicine, but I still now, there's a lifeboat, there's hope, there's something else there for me, and I have this great new hobby, and I love it, man. I just love it, and I know you love it too. And so
Wait.
that's just that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get these stories out there, and let people know that, especially those healthcare workers, that, if you are finding that what you went into from a profession and all you've sacrificed isn't quite what you wanted it to be or thought it would be, come talk with us and hear our stories, and we'd love to hear yours too. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
it's good stuff. Well, that was a really good first episode. I always try to keep it to about this length, Dr. Nathan, because it's an attention span economy out there. So, but your story was great. I thank you so much for being vulnerable, sharing all of that personal information so that everyone out there can hear it, connect with it. And we'll come back here soon with another episode. We're going to talk kind of just as a more 10,000-foot view on what futures and entail and what they're all about. So stay tuned for that. Don't miss that. That'll be Dr. Nathan kind of going over everything. He's very good at it. And don't worry if you don't understand it, because you will if you work with us. All right. Anything else you got to say there, Dr. Nathan?
I'm excited for your future, and the best is yet to come.
Love it, brother. All right. So we're signing off for now. Please feel free to reach out to Dr. Nathan or myself. Our calendar links will be in the show notes. And also Philip, the gentleman that we were talking about, his calendar link will also be in the show notes. So till next time, everybody. See ya.
Thank you.